Hello everyone. In this video I'm going to demonstrate how to get started with Cyphertite, which is a high security online backup solution. What we'll do is create an account, install the software, and perform a basic backup and restore. The setup I'm using in this video is a fresh install of Ubuntu 11.10 desktop with the default settings. I didn't do any special configuration, so you guys should be able to jump right in and follow along. Okay, let's get started. So the first thing we need to do is create an account. In order to do that, we'll need to launch a browser and go out to Cyphertite's website, so let's do that. From there, we'll follow the sign-up link and fill out their form. For the username, we'll just go ahead and use Cyphertite videos. For this one, obviously you'd want to pick your own. Let's provide a password. And email address, this needs to be correct because we're going to have to activate. So use the Cyphertite Videos Gmail account, and first name and last name, fill that out, and the verification that it wants. Okay, so as we can see, the account was created, but as I just stated, we're going to need to activate. So let's go ahead and do that. If you look in the background here, I already had Gmail up and ready, and so there's the support email. We'll click that. You can read through here and make sure everything looks right. It does, so let's follow the activation link. Now we're on the Cyphertite website again, and as you can see, the activation code has already been filled out for us, but we need to put in our username and password again. So let's do that. Okay, so it's processing right now, and here in just a second, yep, so our account has been created now. We can see from here that we are given a free gigabyte, and here's our certificate bundle that we'll need in a moment to configure. I'm going to go ahead and download that now. Now we could open it with the built-in archive manager, but instead I'm going to save it because the instructions on the wiki are command line based, and it's easier to follow if we do that. Okay, so the certificate bundle is saved. Next we need to go get the software. So if we go back to the main page, we can see there's a versions link here, and underneath it we have Ubuntu instructions. Let's follow those. Here we go. We can see these instructions are command line based, so we'll need to copy and paste those into an Xterm. Let's go ahead and do that. This first command adds the repository where Cyphertite and some of its dependencies are to Ubuntu's packaging system. And the second command then updates the list of available packages, so it knows about the new packages in the repository we just added. It will take a little bit of time here to go through the various repositories and update the index files. Not too long. So once that gets complete, finally we'll run the command that actually installs Cyphertite. So yes, we want to accept it and verify. And while the installation's happening, we'll scroll down here and go to the configuration page and get ready to do that. So we want to configure a single machine here. Let's check on the install. We can see that the various dependencies have been installed, and it is just about complete. There we go. So Cyphertite is now installed. Let's continue with the configuration. Going back to the wiki, we can see that we have just a few commands left to complete the configuration. First, we'll need to extract the certificate bundle that we saved earlier, and that's what these two commands do. Except if you notice in the second command, it refers to test user, and we'll want to replace that with our actual account name. So let's just copy it up to this point. We'll paste that, and the certificate bundle we downloaded is under the downloads directory, and it was called Cyphertite Videos, so there's the cert bundle, and we'll extract that. So it completed. And if you notice, it extracted that to the .cyphertite directory under the user's home directory. Next, we just need to run Cyphertite without any parameters to generate the initial config file. So let's do that. For this video, we're just going to use the default settings, but I'll explain each one as we go. So this is just asking us if we want to create a config file, and we do, so we'll accept it. This question is asking us where we want to store the configuration file. If you notice, the default path is in the same location that we extracted the cert bundles to just a moment ago. So that's perfect, we'll accept that. Here we just need to enter the username for the account. And this one's pretty self-explanatory. It's just asking if you want to save the login password to the configuration file. If you don't, then you'll have to enter it every time you run Cyphertite, so we'll choose to save it. Now, the crypto passphrase is used to lock what's called your secrets file. Cyphertite encrypts all your data on the local machine using random generated keys stored in the secrets file, and it's locked with this crypto passphrase. Again, you would have to enter it every time you run Cyphertite if you don't save it, so we'll choose to save it. And we'll also choose to automatically generate it so it's secure. The metadata operation mode specifies whether you want to save the metadata files locally or remotely on the server. Metadata files are also known as ctfiles. So typically remote is the setting you'll want to use here. Otherwise you'd have to manually copy the ctfiles generated during a backup to a safe medium since you need them to restore your data. We'll choose remote. So here the target metadata cache directory, also again like I said, ctfile is another term for metadata. This is just where the local ones get stored. Since you'll be working with remote mode, whenever the files go back and forth, they go into this cache directory. So automatic remote differentials allow for some more advanced setups such as incremental daily backups on a rotating schedule and things along those lines. We're not going to use that for this video, so we'll just say no here. Okay, so we're configured and ready to go. Now there is one more setting that isn't mentioned here, but I find it useful. My residential internet connection only has a 40K upload, as I'm sure many of yours do as well. And by default, Cyphertite, like the vast majority of online backups, will use all the available bandwidth to perform a backup. Now, that results in completely saturating your link, and of course when that happens, your internet's basically unusable for the duration of the backup. To avoid this, I find it useful to limit the maximum upload bandwidth to about half of the available amount. For me, that's about 20K. So if we look at the man page for cyphertite.conf, we can see near the top here that bandwidth is the setting we're after to limit that. So I'm just going to add that setting to the Cyphertite conf file to limit it. Okay, now that's done. At this point, we're ready to do a backup. So I have some data already available here in the data to archive directory that I'll just go ahead and list and show the usage on so you can see it. As you can see, it's just a few files and it's around 5.8 megabyte. So if you're familiar with tar, you'll notice the flags for Cyphertite are very similar to the flags for tar. So in order to do this backup, we'll do Cyphertite, and we'll do -C for create, V for verbose, and F to specify the CT file tag, and we'll just call it test.ct. And then the data we want to back up, and we'll use that data to archive directory. So while this backup is going on, because of that limited bandwidth upload, we can see I'm still able to browse the web. So that's quite nice. Since this backup's going to take a little while to complete, we'll just skip it in the video. Okay, so we skipped ahead and now the backup is complete. Remembering back to when we did the initial configuration, we chose to use remote CT file mode. So at this point, we can list the remote CT files. Let's do that. We'll run Cyphertite with the -M flag, which tells it to run in remote CT file mode, and T, which tells it to list them. Now, since we've only backed up data once, there's only one CT file here. And you can also see the tag name that we specified, test.ct, is included along with the timestamp. Now, we can also view the contents of the archive. For that, we'll just run Cyphertite with the T for view, V for verbose, and F for the CT file. We could either specify the entire CT file name with these timestamp included, or just the tag. So we're going to just specify the tag here. And after it talks to the server, you'll see it comes back with a list of all the files that we backed up. And due to the verbose flag, it also tells you how much space was saved through compression and deduplication. So now we can do a restore. Let's go ahead and kill the original data. And we use the rm command for that, and then we'll try to list it to prove that it is in fact gone. And so we can see there's no more data there, it's gone. And let's restore it. To do that, we'll just run Cyphertite with the -x for extract, v again for verbose just so we get more information, and f for the CT file that we want to use. Again, we could specify the entire CT file name or just the tag, and we'll use the tag. So the restore is much quicker than the backup because my internet connection has far more download bandwidth than upload, which is typical for residential connections. And once again, you can see that the files here have come back, and if we list, the folder is back the way it was, and we can check the usage again. Whoops, d-h. And sure enough, that 5.8 meg is back. So that's it. Hopefully everybody found this video useful.